Hello everyone and welcome. Thanks for signing up to Facebook and for joining us on today's webinar, How to Make a WordPress Website or Blog. First of all, before we begin, we're just going to do a sound and visual check for you, just to make sure you can see and hear us. So in your chat boxes, if you can just type in yes if you can hear my voice and if you can see the presentation. Thanks very much. There are lots of yeses coming through there. We've got some questions and answers session at the end as well. In the same box you can type your questions as you go along, okay, if you think of anything. So I'm Matt Cooper and I'm the customer care team leader at names.co.uk and Register 365. I'm joined today by Ben Bishops, who is our front-end developer and also our resident WordPress expert. And you can also, Ben's going to be creating the site today, you can follow our progress at wordpresswebinar.com. So if you type in wordpresswebinar.com into your web browser, you can see all the changes live as they happen. So we're just going to go on to the next slide of the presentation. So today we're going to show you how to add WordPress to your hosted package, because when you buy your web hosting it's just going to be empty and blank to begin with, and any Linux hosting. With Ben's help, we're going to show you how to set up a site or blog and add some content and images, and it's a really nice photography website today. We're going to show you how to customize the themes you get as well, to make them your own, make them look a bit more personal. And we're going to show you how to manage and respond to comments as well, how to moderate comments that come through, so you can sort between spam and the real stuff. And then we're going to show you how to install some plugins as well to get some extra functionality into your WordPress site. So let's begin. So if we go to the names.co.uk website first of all, or register365.com, same kind of layout for both. This is our home page. You can just click on the control panel on the top right hand corner and type in your username and password to log in. So once you're inside, this is what the control panel looks like. If you click on domain names on the left first of all to bring up your services, we're going to be using wordpresswebinars.com today, of course, so we'll be clicking on that domain name. And then we're going to go into the Softaculous area, which is a really nice install section. It takes all the fuss out of installing some really nice applications, including WordPress and Joomla, etc., onto your web hosting. So just click on the banner there if we log in. So on the first page you get all of the most popular installs. So we've got WordPress there, Drupal, and there's some galleries you can install, and forums, all kinds of things. And as you can see, it says there's 100 plus installations available. So we're just going to click on WordPress today and install. And then we've got a very basic install page here. There's a few options on there, but not many to change, to be honest with you. The first one is in directory. At the moment it's set to WP by default, short for WordPress of course, and that means if I left WP in there, it would store onto wordpresswebinars.com/WP, but we just want it onto the top extension, which is the .com, so we're going to leave that blank today. You can leave the rest. It will assign a database name for you. You can just leave it as it is. And then most importantly, if you scroll down, just change admin, something a bit more secure, more memorable to yourself. Put a username in there, and it generates a nice strong password to begin with. It says strong there we go. And then if you just click on install, that will install the WordPress installation onto the web hosting for you. And in traditional fashion, here's one we created earlier. That's the standard install, and I'm just going to click on login there. And I've already logged in before, so it's auto-populated the boxes for me. So I'm just going to click on login. Classic. Okay, so this is the nature of ITD, folks. So they say don't work with children and animals. I think I'll add WordPress to that list. Let's just log in now. I've got the password in front of me, so do bear with me. And there we go, we're logged in safe and sound, and I'm just going to pass you over to Ben now, leave you in his capable hands. He's going to walk you through creating a really amazing site. Hi Ben.
Hi Matt, thanks very much for that. So Matt's got one step ahead of us here. He's installed the WordPress blog and logged us into the dashboard. Just coming up to the top here, we'll open up a another window to see the site as well. So as Matt demonstrated earlier, here's the kind of a default WordPress install. It's using 2014 theme, which comes with WordPress. WordPress started off as a blogging platform, and all sites, when you first create them, are kind of set up in that format. So you can see there's a news post on the home page here. Matt mentioned earlier we're going to customize it to make it more of a website rather than a blog, and in this instance we're going to do it for a photography website. So coming back up to the dashboard tab at the top here. The dashboard, or when you log into WordPress, gives you a snapshot of everything that's kind of going on in WordPress at any one time. So it gives you a lot of quick links to things you might use more regularly than others. But significantly, you've got a vertical menu across the left-hand side here with everything that you want to do in WordPress is one of these options, and perhaps a sub-menu item. So getting right in, there's two content types in WordPress by default that you'll get really familiar with. Posts and pages. Posts are time-sensitive content types, so more relevant, time-wise things will appear at the top. The older posts will appear at the bottom. Pages themselves are more static content that are not dependent on time and won't get less relevant as time goes on. So we'll go straight in and create some pages for our website. So hovering over the Pages menu here and then clicking on Add New. And the page that loads is our page editor screen. The input box at the top here is for the title of the page. So we'll call this first page that we're going to create Home. Titles are really important from an SEO point of view, and also from the point of view of your customers as well, so or readers that are coming to the site. So try and make sure that the titles are nicely descriptive, and really summarise what the page is all about. We've got some dummy content kind of set up. Like open up a Word notepad document here and copy in some text. We'll paste that into the editor. And you'll see here, if you're a user of Word or any other sort of word processor, a lot of these icons that are running across the top here should be pretty familiar with to you. You could select portions of the text and click on the bold icon to take it bold. We'll add a couple of carriage returns in here as well. Okay. As you're going along, WordPress will do auto saves as you make more and more changes to your post. At any point, though, if you're halfway through creating a page or a post and you want to come pushing it, you can always come up here in the top right-hand corner and click on Save Draft. And you'll get a little confirmation message pop up to say that the page has been saved. At any point while you're still editing pages as well, if you click on the Preview button, a new tab will open up and it will show you what the actual page would look like on the site. So you can see the title that we've added and the content that we've added to the page as well. So that'll do fine for a basic home page. So coming back to the editor here, we'll click on Publish. And again, the confirmation in the top left-hand corner indicates that the page has been saved and published to the site as well. We'll add a couple more pages. So we'll click on Add New this time and add another title. So we'll create a gallery page. Add a bit of text. Okay, so just above the editor and beneath the title box, you've got a button called Add Media. And clicking on this brings up a dialog box where you can add and upload images, PDFs, or any other type of media that you want to do. So there's two ways of doing it. You can click on Select Files and the dialog box will open up. Or there's another quite cool feature with WordPress that you can just drag and drop from a Explorer or Finder window if you're on a Mac. So we'll select the files that we want to upload and just drag those into the WordPress window and let go. And it runs through uploading those images to the site. If when you've been taking and processing the photos you've added any metadata to the images, then WordPress will spot that and pre-populate the title and some of the other fields for the images. It's always a good idea, again from an SEO point of view, to try and set your alt tags, any keywords that are applicable to the image and obviously to the business or blog that you're writing about. So we've uploaded all those images. we then come up to the left-hand side here, we've got an option called Create Gallery. By default, all the images that you've already uploaded have got little ticks by them indicating that you're going to add this to the gallery. So in the bottom right-hand corner, click on Create New Gallery, at which point it shows the order of all the images and how they'll appear in the page. This is a drag and drop interface. You can just click and drag and reorder the images however you want them to be positioned when you publish the page. So we're happy with that. We'll click on Insert Gallery, and it comes back to our editor window and shows a series of thumbnails of all the images that you've added to appear in the gallery. So again, at any point you can click Save or Preview, but we're happy that that's going to look all right on the live site. So we'll click on Publish, and once the confirmation message has appeared, you can always come back to the site, do a refresh by clicking on the blog title in the top left-hand corner, and you can see these two additional page elements have appeared at the top here. And clicking on Gallery, there you can see the gallery actually in the page as well. So we'll add a couple more pages in there as well. This time from the Pages submenu, we'll click on Add New. Again, we'll set a title, and this time we'll do a news page, and this is where all our news posts will appear, and we'll show you how to configure that a bit later. So we don't need to add anything to that. Just click on Publish to push that out to the site. And then finally, one more page, we'll do a contact page. Which almost every website in the world has some sort of contact page. So we'll add a dummy telephone number in here. But we'll also come back to this page shortly, and we'll add a contact form to it as well to make it nice and easy for people to be able to email you as well. So again, clicking on Publish pushes the page live and out to the site. And if we come back to our site and refresh the page again, we can see the two additional pages are now at the top here as well. While we're adding content to the site, let's come back into the editor and we'll add a couple of news posts. So in this instance, while we've been working on the Pages section, we'll come up to the top for posts and click on Add New. And we'll do a couple of dummy posts here. And we'll add some dummy images and some dummy text to it as well. Pasted in a bit more text, and this time we'll add a single image to the post that we're creating here as well. So click and position the cursor wherever you want the image to appear, and come back up to our Add Media button. Now it's got all the images in there that we uploaded earlier. We could come to the Upload Files tab and upload another image that we want to appear just on this post, but in this instance we'll go back to our media library and just insert one of the pictures that we uploaded earlier. So by default, when it appears in the post, the text you can see is not quite wrapping nicely around it. But if you click on the image and then just the line left from the toolbar at the top there, it adds a bit of margin around the image, and then you can see that the text is now nicely wrapping around the image and sits quite nicely in the page. There's a couple of additional elements to posts that you don't have with pages. And if you scroll down on the right-hand side here, we've got categories and tags. It's a good idea to add categories and tags to your posts. Try and be as descriptive and when categorizing them as you can. And it helps with users who are navigating the site to find the content that they want, and it also helps with search engine optimization as well. So we'll add a category called Website, and click on Add New Category, and by default it'll tick the one that we've just added. And if we scroll down, we'll add a couple of tags as well, separated by commas. Okay, and then clicking on Add, you can see the tags that we've added down the bottom here. If you scroll back up to the top, you click on Publish, and that'll push it out to the site. And we'll add one more news post as well, and then we'll configure where they actually appear on the site. So in a similar sort of vein to when we were adding new pages, just click on the Add New at the top here. And another dummy post, Open Day. And again, we'll grab some text from here as well. In this instance, we'll add a video to the news post as well. WordPress kind of has a lot of really good functionality built into it. Some that doesn't come by default, and we'll explain about extending the functionality with plugins shortly. But it works really well with YouTube. We've opened a tab earlier and gone to our names.co.uk YouTube channel and just selected one of our videos. And it's really, really simple to add a video to a WordPress postal page. You just come up to the address, copy the address, and then go back to your editor and paste in the address for the YouTube video. There's no technical kind of things that you have to do with any HTML or anything like that. So it's nice and easy. You just paste it in, and if we click publish on there, again we'll get the confirmation at the top of the page that the post has been published. There we go. It's just caught up with this. There we go. Post published. And if we come back to our website and refresh the page once again, you should see the 2 additional posts that we've added. So you can see one here for the open day, and you can see the one with the image that we added, and there's the video that we just added to the previous post. So that's nice and easy adding videos to it. So at the moment though, we need to do a bit more customization. The menu items at the top here, it's got kind of a sample page that was added by default by WordPress when it installs, and all these menu items are kind of in a bit of a random order, and we want to just organize those a little bit better. So if we come back to our editor, come down to appearance, which is another option on the vertical menu on the left hand side, and come down to menus. WordPress and the 2014 theme has 2 locations for adding menu items. One at the top that we've already seen, and there's another one towards the footer of the page as well. But we're just concerned with this section for the time being. So on the menu, on the menus page, we'll add a name for this menu that we're going to create. We'll just call it primary, nice and easy. And clicking on create menu allows us to configure the menu and add posts or pages or links to external sites. So over the left hand side here we've got the pages section, and here are the 4 pages that we've just added to the site. So clicking on add to menu moves them across to the menu on the right hand side, and you'll see as you hover over them the cursor changes, and that indicates that you can reorder these just by clicking and then dragging down and positioning them wherever you want to put them. So a general convention with websites is you have kind of the home page as the first link, and the contact page tends to be the last link. News and gallery, personal preference, let's put the gallery first or before news. Since we're happy with the order of our menu items, we'll click on Save Menu and go up to Manage Locations. And this, we're just telling WordPress where we want this menu that we've just created to appear. And we see we've got 2 slots here, and it's the top primary menu that we want to, the location that we want to use. So we'll select the primary menu that we just created, and then click on Save Changes. And if we come back to our site and do a refresh of the page, you'll see at the top there the navigation links have changed, and it shows the 4 pages in the correct order that we wanted. There's while WordPress has lots of functionality that's really good, kind of out the box, if you like, there's certain functionality or certain things that you might want to do that WordPress doesn't do by default. The way they've kind of enabled this for people, making it really, really easy, is by introducing a plugin system. And plugins are just little bits of code, effectively, that you add to the site and extends the functionality of the site. So there's a couple of plugins that I'll go through and install now and demonstrate how this works. So as you probably guessed, there's a plugin section within WordPress. So hovering over that and then clicking on Add New. One of the things I mentioned earlier is that we're going to add a contact form to the contact page. The search box here, and if we do a search for contact form, the first one that comes up actually is a pretty good starting point for adding forms to your site. So once the search results appear, if you hover over the install now, click on that and click the confirmation, that will go off to the plugin store and effectively download and install that for you. It takes a couple of seconds, but not too long. And once that's installed, we'll activate and we'll go through adding it to the page. So you get a confirmation that the plugin's installed, gives you a bit of a progress. and then a note at the bottom saying that the plugin has been installed successfully. So we'll activate that, essentially just turning on the plugin. And you can see then on the plugins list, there's a couple of other plugins that come with WordPress by default, but the one that we've just installed and activated is Contact Form, and you can see it's a slightly different color, indicating that it's active. We'll hover over we'll click on the settings option here, and come to extra settings. There's lots of things you can kind of configure with this plugin, but as we scroll down to the bottom here, you see a preview of how the form will appear on your page. And significantly, something called a shortcode down the bottom here. This is about as kind of technical as we're going to get. The shortcodes allow you to extend the functionality. So once you've installed the plugin, you can then enable and position where you want that form to appear by essentially pasting in the shortcode into the postal page. So while we're going to do it a pretty standard way and put it on a contact page, in theory, you could put it onto any sort of page. You could have a contact form on your home page if you wanted to. So we'll copy that shortcode, come back up to the Pages menu, and click on All Pages this time. And this will show us all the pages that are live on the site. There's the 4 that we created, and there's the sample page that kind of gets created by default with WordPress. We don't actually need that, so we'll click on, as we hover over it, you can see you get different items appear underneath. We'll click on Trash to essentially bin the sample page that we don't need, and we're going to add it to the contact page. So clicking on the title, or you could have clicked on Edit, will then open up the page in the editor. You can see the telephone number that we added earlier. If we do a carriage return in there, and then just paste in that shortcode, and click on Update to save the changes that we've made to the publish page. And if we come back to our blog, click on the Contact menu item in the top there, and you can see there's the telephone number and now the form within the page. There's one more plugin that we're going to add, and this is a really, really good plugin for customizing the 2014 theme that comes with WordPress. So again, we'll come back over to the Plugins menu, click on Add New, and this time we're going to search for something called 14 colors. See, I've done a search there before, so we'll click on the autofill and then click on Search Menus. And the first option that appears in the list there is 14 colors. So as we did with the contact form, we'll click on Install Now and then click on OK on the confirmation box. There we go, confirmation that it's been installed. We'll click the link at the bottom to activate the plugin as well. Okay, and then you can see on the plugins list the 2 additional plugins that we've installed and activated there. They're in a slightly, in the slightly dull blue color. Okay, so at the moment, all we've done so far is just added a bit of content to the site. We've created some pages, and we've added a couple of dummy news posts. To really customize the look and appearance of the theme, and this is the same with any theme that you install. Quite often there'll be a customize option underneath the appearance tab. It's a really good feature that's come into WordPress in the last couple of years, and it allows you to make changes to the site with the menu options along the left-hand side here. And while you're making these changes, you'll see them appear on the right-hand side. So it's good. You can try a few different things out with a really good preview of how it will look before you actually save the changes and effectively push those changes out to your live site. So the first thing we're going to adjust is the title and name of the blog up here, and then the tagline. The first menu option on the list. So we'll change the title to the photography website, and you can see as we're typing it in here, it automatically updates the title on the right hand side here. And we'll change the tagline as well. You can see that automatically updates as well. The next option down is the colors, and this is where that 14 colors plugin comes in. It allows you to change the colors on the website, and we'll set these a little bit more customized to how we want it to appear on the website. So you can choose from the color palette here by just clicking on the colors. We've got a really nice shade of blue that I'm going to use here. we like that, and then the contrast color, we'll set that to a shade of grey. And you can see as I've clicked away from that, it's automatically updated the preview on the right-hand side. So you've got a light grey colour for the background now, and the text has changed to black on the header and the sidebar. And the menu items now, instead of the shade of green that we're using, are now quite a nice shade of blue. You can set and change the background colour to the site as well, but for the time being, we're happy with kind of the white that we're using, so we'll continue down the menu options here. Header image. We've created a header image for our photography website. So clicking on Add New brings up the media library again. So we'll go to Upload Files, and this time we'll use the dialog box rather than dragging and dropping it in here. And as Matt started using the term, here's one we created earlier, I'll continue using it. To highlight the image and click on Open, and again it uploads the image to your media library. We'll set a better title. Set the alt text as well. We'll just copy the title and then paste that in there. And the next stage is select and crop. So we've actually kind of done a bit of pre-processing on this. We've added a logo to the image. I've actually cropped it to the right size anyway. But if it wasn't the right size, you can adjust using the up and down arrows on here, the width and the height of the image. But I want to display it full size, as it were. So we'll click on Crop Image. It shows you here on the left-hand side the current header image, and you can see the preview's updated now to have the header image in there as well. As you scroll down, there's another thing that we want to kind of update, and it's really to do with the functionality of the site and how it's laid out. And this is kind of the really neat trick to turning it from a blog where you would expect to see lots of news posts or blog articles on the home page to more of a website where we have a static page on the home page, and we'll set our news post to appear on the news page. So static front page is the option we're looking for this time. So instead of your latest posts on the front page, we'll choose an actual static page for it, and we'll set home as the front page and news to be our post page. As we scroll down, there's a couple of other options which we're not going to go into and change, but significantly you've got the widgets options down the bottom here. All your widgets appear in the navigation bar on the side here. So you can see if we click on primary sidebar, we've got search, which is at the top here, recent posts, recent comments, archives. If we want to, actually, let's just drag one of those up. Again, it's quite similar to the menu system that we saw earlier. You'll see as I've dropped that archives above the recent comments, you see it automatically updates on here, and archives is now appearing on the site above recent comments. So we've made all the settings changes that we want to do to the page through the customize option. So coming up to save and publish saves all those changes that we've made. And if we come back to our home page, you can see how it looked before, and if we refresh the page, you can see how it now looks. We've got our great header image at the top there, really selling our photography with our logo. And then as we scroll down, we've got the home page with our text. If we click on gallery, we've got the gallery that we added earlier. Any of the images you can click on, and you see a much obviously larger version. And then clicking on any of the images in the gallery in the full view scrolls on to the next image. There's a couple of other things that are worth mentioning as well. I mean, if we go back to the gallery page, this is a really good kind of SEO tip, but it's also really useful for your visitors to come to the site as well. At the moment, we've got these really pretty obscure URLs at the top here. !page_ID equals 9. It's completely unmemorable, and while it works, it's functional. It's not very pretty, and it's not very good for SEO either. So coming back to our editor, if we click on Close to come out of the Customize menu item and scroll down to Settings. It's another menu option we haven't come across yet, but significantly down the bottom of the menu of the Settings menu, you've got Permalinks. Permalinks is a bit of an obscure term for essentially making the URLs much prettier. Got a couple of different examples about how you'd want to lay it out. One I prefer is for all the news posts to have the year and the month, and then the post title. But you can see there's a couple of others there. to, you can kind of create the URL structure yourself. But I definitely recommend month and name. And if we hit save changes down the bottom here, and then come back to our site and just do a refresh by clicking on the header, taking us home. So on the gallery page now, when we go to it, it's using the title of the page that we set earlier. So it's another good reason to set your titles of the page that appear on here to a really good term. That also appears then in the title bar at the top there. Same when we go to news, and the same when we go to contact. One of the things we haven't covered yet is the comment system. WordPress has a really good comment system built into it. Comments are a way on your news posts normally for your customers to leave comments, and it's a really good way for you to interact with your customers. So, for example, if we come down to our recent posts and click on the Open Day link, underneath all your posts you'll find a comment form. Now we're logged in at the moment. If we weren't logged in, there'd be a name, email address, and website input fields, as well as the comments. Any comments that get posted to your site will appear in the back end, and they're there for moderation first. It's to ensure that no spam comments get through to your website, and you can effectively meter what comments you want to appear on your site. So, clicking on the comments menu, I think there's one comment by default that's already on the dummy page. You can see this is how they appear, and by hovering over the comment, you can choose to mark it to be approved or published, and this one's already live on the test post from earlier. You can choose to mark it as spam, or you can choose to trash it. One thing I'd really recommend with the comment system, there's an additional plugin that comes with WordPress called Kismet. Just like with email systems, you get an awful lot of spam. It's kind of just the nature of the world now. It's the same with comments. So when you set up your site and when you enable comments and want to interact with your genuine customers, I'd really recommend activating a Kismet and configuring that. The Kismet's a really good spam filter for all your comments, and trust me, it works really, really well. It catches a huge amount of spam, and once your website's been up for a while, you'll find if you don't have it on, you start getting really hit with lots and lots of spam comments. So it's a really good way of combating that in the same way that you would run maybe a virus checker on your PC. It's a really good idea to try and keep on top of the spam comments on your website as well. Another area of WordPress that I think is a really good thing to mention is updating. WordPress is now the most popular platform on the web. So there's more websites using WordPress than anything else, really. So it's a really good bit of software, but it's advisable to try and keep it up to date as much as possible. So any of the one-click installs that you run with our hosting packages, they'll install the latest version of WordPress. But as time goes on, the developers behind it, so it's really community-driven. There's loads of people working on WordPress. They'll push out new versions of WordPress that will add new features, but they'll also add new security options as well. To update WordPress, there's an updates option that appears underneath the dashboard menu item. And as a new update becomes available, you can see on here we've got there's one update available for WordPress up to 3.92, and any plugin updates that become available, they'll appear on this page. It's advisable to try and back up your site to start off with, but 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100, you're pretty safe at updating the site, and there'll be no issues. But always get a good backup system in place. In the same way as you back up your PC or your Mac, it's a good idea to keep your website backed up as well. But as new updates come out, try and get in the habit of regularly updating your site. You'll get new features that come across all the time. WordPress is continually developing, and you get all the important security updates as well. Well, I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to say. I'll pass you back across the Matt.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for creating a really great-looking website. It looks ultra-modern as well, and I think you created that in just under 40 minutes, didn't you?
It doesn't take long. Yeah, it doesn't take long.
It just shows you what you can do there, and you don't really need to be techie. It's all clicking on links. There's no programming involved, really. So thanks for submitting some questions as well. I've been taking some notes as we've been going along, so I'm going to answer as many as we can in the time we've got left. First one to you, Ben. Brian asks, how do you add social media buttons for Facebook and Twitter?
Okay. That's a really good question. Social media is incredibly important now. Again, like what I talked about with the comment system, social media is a really good way of interacting with your customers. Everyone's on Facebook now. Loads of people are on Twitter, and Google Plus is another really good one as well. So adding social buttons to your site is actually pretty straightforward. It's while that functionality doesn't come out the box of WordPress, like what we did with the contact form earlier, there's loads of plugins about that would serve the purpose of adding buttons to your site. So that there are definitely individual ones that would add, say for example, a tweet button or a Facebook like button, a Google Plus button to the site. I think there's a couple out there as well that actually do all three, and there's different options that come with them when you install them. You choose whether to put them on all of your posts, on all of your pages, at the top of your post, at the bottom of your post, and all of these are in the when you install the plugin, there'll be a menu option that you can go into, and you can configure it to how you want them to appear on your site. So yeah, in short, go into the plugins, install a plugin that kind of meets your needs, and you'll be able to add all the social media buttons quite easily to your site.
Fantastic, thanks very much. So we've got a couple more questions. Remember as well, you can visit the Ben's Finished website at wordpresswebinars.com. So we've got another question from Rachel. She says she's got a dance studio and would like customers to find her on a map. How would we do that?
Okay, yeah, that's actually not too tricky to do. I can show you how to do that. You see that a lot on websites now, where you see an embedded map on, for example, the contact page, or it might be in the footer of every page on the site. Quite easy. There's a little bit more to it than just adding a YouTube video. But we open up a new tab and go to Google Maps. Do a search of your business or location that you want to highlight to your customers. So we're based in Worcester. Do a search for Worcester. There's a couple of options. So try and configure the view how you would like it to appear on your site. So we're quite zoomed out of Worcester here. If we come down to the bottom right-hand corner and zoom in a little bit more, and there you can see Worcester High Street just down from Worcester Foregate Street. So position the map exactly where you want it to appear. So that's about right, pretty much in the centre of where we want to highlight. And there's a cog down the bottom here that if you click on, the top menu option is Share and Embed Map. Clicking on Embed Map and gives you a preview of what the map will look like. And significantly, a bit of code at the top there. It's called an iframe. So you select it, copy it, and then come back to WordPress. And this, so yeah, we'll put it on the contact page underneath our contact form. Go back into all pages. Hover over contact and click on edit, or you can just click on the title of the page. And you see there we've got our telephone number and the short code that we added earlier. There's another view that on all the editor screens called a text view. If you click on text and maybe do a couple of carriage turns and then paste in that iframe bit of code, you come back to the visual view and you can see that WordPress can tell that you're effectively trying to display something in the editor there. And if we click on update on the right hand side here, while that's just saving and publishing, we'll come down and navigate to our contact page. And as we scroll down there, we've got the contact, the form, and then there's the map that we just saved to the page as well. So you've got all the usual Google Maps functionality with that as well. So you can obviously click and drag and navigate around, zoom in and zoom out. So it's really useful for your readers or customers to be able to find out where you are. Cool.
Thanks, Ben. So using that, they can find you now, Rachel. And Jane asks, can I add and sell products through WordPress?
Okay. Yeah, you definitely can. Like what we talked about earlier with any functionality that doesn't come with WordPress, you can add plugins. There's a couple of really good plugins for selling products on WordPress, or selling services, or downloadable content. One's called WooCommerce. It's probably the most famous or most renowned plugin for adding e-commerce functionality to your website. You can add products, talk about shipping and postage rates, any tax, VAT registered, for example. It deals with stock levels, and you can add payment processes to it as well. So PayPal, Stripe, probably two of the most famous ones, and easy to use and easy to integrate into your website. That being said, there's quite a lot to learn with WooCommerce. So while all the documentation online, there's loads there, and it gives loads of examples, I suppose the barrier to entry is a little bit higher. There's quite a lot to learn and quite a lot to kind of take in when you're starting to do that. So it may be that another one of our products might suit you a little bit better, like our e-commerce product or cloud site, for example, has the functionality to sell products on there. So give it a try. I mean, install it and read all the documentation and get familiar with it. And if you're really keen to kind of dip your toes in, and by all means go ahead and do it. But just be aware that there's quite a steep learning curve with it.
Thanks very much. No problem. So I think really that's all the time we've got for any questions, but don't worry, because we will get back to any unanswered questions on the email addresses you logged in with. Okay, so we're just going to finish off the presentations, and to just summarise WordPress again. You just need standard Linux hosting. That's all you need to buy from us. Okay, if you buy it on an annual basis, you'll get a free domain name. With the hosting, you get access to all of those fantastic one-click installs as well. It's easy to set up. You get email part of that as well. So if you were doing a photography website there, you could have had Ben at, I don't know, photography.com as well as a contact address. We can help you set that one up. We give you some professional images to start off with as well, from Photolia, and of course we provide expert advice as well. So if you need help, just call us. And I've left some contact details on the screen there for you. You can contact on our names.co customers and register 365 customers on the numbers there. And there's our website, names.co.uk, and register365.com. So thanks for everyone for joining us today, for signing up to Facebook and signing up on Facebook. And thanks to Ben for creating a really great site and for answering our questions today. Keep an eye on Facebook, obviously, because we're going to post more updates on there of upcoming webinars. So thanks for joining us, and I hope you got something out of that, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.